Yellow t-shirt, carrots for power, and self-discipline. These are the first things that come to my mind when I think of Alexander Megos. Alex is one of the strongest lead climber in the world. He has an insane finger strength and mobility, but I think he's pretty famous also for his sunny personality.
Because I'm weak. And what's wrong with that? Boy, oh boy.
That can turn into intense anger rather quickly. Welcome back. I'm Allegra Maguire, and today I'm going to do the psychological analysis of the mindset of the one and only Alexander Megos. There could be a lot to say about Alex Megos. Maybe in the future I'll talk more about his passion for yoga and connection with nature. But today I'm going to be focusing on self-discipline and how it impacts his climbing. Self-discipline is defined as the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. And Alex is pretty famous for his self-discipline philosophy.
Struggle means also going to the gym and having training sessions when you feel absolutely awful and you're definitely not psyched to go climbing, and still get your ass to the gym and do your workout. I think that's struggle.
So what's your relationship with struggle? Do you seek it out? Do you try to minimize it?
I wouldn't say I try to minimize struggle. The thing is, the bigger the struggle, the better the outcome usually.
If you were to look into a psychology manual, you would never find the word of self-discipline. On the other hand, the self-help industry is filled with strategies and techniques that are based on self-discipline development. How is that possible? Self-discipline is usually seen as the main drive to do stuff when you don't feel really motivated. But the reality is that the discussion on motivation is extremely poor in the everyday life. Motivation comes from the Latin word movere, moveo, which means to move. So motivation is anything that drives your behavior. And that is why self-discipline could be considered as a form of motivation itself. It is by definition anything that moves, drives behavior. In particular, if we were to refer to the most relevant model of motivation, which is, no, it's not Maslow's pyramid. Okay, now it's better. Which is self-determination theory. We could say the self-determination could be a form of external regulation, which, if you notice, is quite close to the bottom of the spectrum that goes from not feeling motivated at all to intrinsic motivation, which is what we usually say in everyday life when we say I feel motivated to do something. Recent studies showed that the people who are able to be consistent in activities such as train regularly, having a healthy diet, study consistently, actually use less self-discipline compared to those who are not able to do so. This is because they rely on other forms of primary drives like values, giving importance to what they're doing, rather than trying to reach a goal that they're looking forward to. They also establish multiple routines and habits, which by definition require less self-control. In fact, active self-control is something that requires a lot of energies. This is also why only 5% of diets actually have success, among other reasons, obviously. So, is self-discipline good or bad? Well, when you're starting an activity which you're not really looking forward to, a certain degree of self-discipline is necessary. On the other hand, when you are at a high level of a certain activity and you also maybe find it internally, intrinsically motivating, self-discipline could be quite dysfunctional.
That's right, no more complaining. No more, Mr. Kimball, I need to go to the bathroom. No, nothing. There is no bathroom.
In an article for Patagonia from 2019, Alex actually describes the drawbacks of this mindset. Let's read it. I don't have it, he says. I'm too weak. Alex gets quiet. It's only 8C. I'm just a piece of sushi, he says almost under his breath. His climbing gets worse. He decides to go to the ground. A second try after some rest doesn't go any better. He's done. He packs quietly and leaves alone, making a dark joke when I bid him a safe drive on the Autobahn. Don't worry about me, only strong climbers die in car accidents in the Frankenjura. He heads for the gym, where he trains for 3 hours before heading home. Then, skipping another little part, someone else is referring to him. Alex just puts so much pressure on himself. His ultimate goal is that he wants to become the best climber in the world, that is. And right now, anything else will be failure. And that is not acceptable. Fortunately, Alex in the last 3 years has grown a lot in this regard.
For sure, I think you need to find the right balance between being hard enough on yourself, but not being so hard that you limit yourself. I mean, if you're so hard on yourself that every time you don't succeed, you beat yourself up so much that it creates, negative memories, then at some point you won't end up challenging yourself anymore because you're just afraid of failing and afraid of feeling like a loser. So
just don't focus too much about actually sending it, but trying to still enjoy the process.
Some people simply do not trust themselves enough to be self-compassionate. And this is a shame because it has been proven that self-compassion is fundamental for consistency. Alex is now very involved in yoga and mindfulness activities, which will for sure help him to develop his potential without being too self-judgmental. Would you be interested in hearing about that as well? Let me know by dropping it down a comment. As usual, I will see you in the next video and stay psyched.
Everything hurts.